Hello everybody, and welcome back to the LJL officially unofficial cast, week 7. Wow, we're halfway through our cast so far. I am Alex, otherwise known as Lexico by Master One. I'm your illustrious host. I'm joined by the absolutely unequaled casting duo of Initialize and Nightmare, the Have Good Brothers. As I always say, please introduce yourselves.
One day, I'm gonna have, you know the countdown we do before we come live? One day I'm gonna get the Thunderbirds. I'm just gonna have like just Thunderbirds.
LJL
5, 4,
and we can all come in with like various poses.
it's like 1, LJL, R, go.
It'd be great.
Yeah, it's like instead of like game on, we just have Thunderbirds.
That'd be great. I'm
Like
really
we'd get completely red taped with like
it's true.
stuff, but I mean that'd be worth it.
I'm okay with that red tape. Be worth it.
See, I thought you were going to do the countdown thing. Boom.
Is that? These are all great references, but they're very British ones. Shouldn't we be thinking a little bit more Japanese here?
We can be an educational stream, like
That's
you know, it's they come here thinking they're gonna get Japanese culture. No, it's just it's just
random.
Just a couple of London guys.
British
going at
TV
it.
memes.
British TV memes under a Japanese title and banner. I mean, what's new? What's really new from some idiot teenagers? Well, we're not teenagers anymore. God, we're adults. We're so old. Oh, God, I still...
Life moves on.
I think of myself as a
After the
teenager.
games.
Yes, so we're going to be seeing Burning Core, again, having to lick their wounds. Similar. I wonder if this might be a continuation of we see. Burning Core facing against the Hawks. Now, this is our tied 8th place teams. Burning Core coming off a loss to Sengoku in that last game, and... while it was very close in those for the early 15-20 minutes, some members of Burning Core got a little bit caught out and their positioning hurt. And a team that can relate to getting caught out in positioning is the Hawks.
Yeah.
Because that's why they're in bottom place. Sadly, and they're my team. I have been very proud to say I've been a Hawks fan from before we even started playing. I'm still a Hawks fan. Lads, you have a chance. You just need to go 2-0. And then it makes you have a far better chance. Just do that.
It does. And if we're talking about like this team and talking about them get caught out and being preyed on and stuff, it kind of came in 2 parts, right? Because the Hawks came out in the start of the split doing really well, playing very aggressively, being one of the better snowballing teams in our league, up there with V3 when they start winning games.
Yes.
As the games and the weeks have started going by, we have seen some more positioning errors, some more team fights go awry, and one player which particularly has been at prey for that is Honey.
Yeah.
Honey has the highest CS per minute of any AD carry in the league. He is, let me just have a look at the exact number, 10.7, which is, that's
good.
very high considering like that includes early game and very late game as well. If you look at his GPM, he's very middle of the table. He's like, he's 5th. And then kill participation, he's 2nd lowest. And the lowest being Yuhi, the guy that he'll be facing against. He's prioritized a lot of farm. He doesn't tend to make as much impact in the fights that we see some of the other AD carries do, even when he's playing stuff like Misfortune, which has the AoE ultimate and stuff like that. And he's not, and he is falling behind in terms of his gold income compared to other AD carries. That is outweighed a little bit because they have been losing more games, but it's still an indicator towards their playstyle.
Yes. I mean, on that note as well, we've seen a lot of early aggression from Dasher, who's picked up things like the Camille, and in a 1v1, it's looked pretty good on him. Picked up a number of solo kills with Zebi, for example. That's pretty good going. The problem is he assumes everything is a 1v1, and it never is. Like, he's had multiple games, say, versus Nocturne, where he'll end up in what he thinks is a 1v1. It turns into a 3v1 in very short order.
Or against Olaf, against Axis.
Well, yeah,
right?
Or the Olaf versus Axis, exactly where Hoglet had an amazing game, counter-ganking Dasher on Aurelia, who was desperately looking for those solo kills onto GP. And it has come to bite him in most of the games he's gone aggressive in, actually. He's going in a little bit blind, is getting punished for it, and as a result, the Hawks are getting punished for it overall as well.
Yeah, and some perspective for our viewers potentially trying to understand what's happened to these teams. These teams were actually at the very top of the table. Burning Core are currently now on a 5-loss streak, and the Hawks are on a 4. And we just saw Burning Core get their 5th one. No, this is their 6th loss streak. Jesus, for Burning Core. 4 for the Hawks. Another one would be 5. This is truly a fall from grace from both of these teams who, in these early weeks when we were saying they were looking so good, they were in when you're that early on, you're like, well, you just have to go a few one-on-ones, do a V3 for a few weeks, and you should make playoffs pretty comfortably.
I think what we can say about the teams which are doing better at this point in the split, though, are teams which can deal with being a bit behind. We look at DFM, we look at Sengoku. I mean, we saw Sengoku against Burning Core, right? And it didn't work out against the Jets.
V3 as well for that extent.
V3 I think are the one anomaly for that because they do snowball really damn hard.
Yeah.
That's kind of just like, but that's why they split 6 and 6, right? They're either ahead and they snowball, or they kind of whatever.
Behind and go further behind.
There are only 2 teams with a winning record, which are more than 50%. That's Sengoku and DFM. They can play well from behind. They know how to consolidate their win conditions and go into start farming up early dragons, or know how to fight when they don't have those. Whereas these teams are completely the opposite. And unlike V3, they haven't managed to get ahead the majority of, or if they have managed to get ahead in their games, they haven't always closed it out. But if they have, if they don't get a lead, they're scuppered. Yeah.
Well, with that all said, I think it's time for a blast from the past.
Yeah.
And let's go into this third game for us over here on week 7 of the LJL officially unofficial cast in 3, 2, 1. Good luck to both these teams.
Thank you again, Master Swan, and it's good to be back in the past. It's nice to be a time traveler once more. Burning Core back on the blue side. And it will be Rayfarki in the top lane. Once in the jungle, Rocky in mid lane, and Yuki and Proud as the bot lane.
And on the other side of the rift, it's SoftBank Hawks Gaming coming in at 88 miles an hour in the top lane. It's Dasher in the jungle. It's Tussle, Ramune in the mid lane, Honey in the bot lane, and Pooh as the support.
Well, we'll see if the DeLorean's working out this time and if they've got enough gigawatts to pull out the win over Burning Core. But we've got a couple bans in already. Olaf, Aurelia taken off by Burning Core. They know what Dasher can do on that champion. They know what Ramune can do on that champion. And Olaf is such a strong early jungler. Rumble also removed. Okay. The other side, Yuumi, set.
So, once again, we have Aphelios, Senna, and Ornn all up on the table, 2 of which at least will come through in this, be available after the bans are said and done. We'll see if Burning Core can pick up the first pick of Aphelios if the Hawks don't ban that, which I'd really suggest them to do. Please ban that champion. They have 3 seconds left to do so. They didn't do it. Okay, they banned the Ornn. Okay, Ornn is a very good win condition for a lot of different teams. I don't think I like Burning Core with that champion, because Rayfarki tends to be the guy that is the carry, not the secondary carry or the tank on the Ornn.
On the other hand, Rocky can play that champion. Could have pushed it towards the mid lane, left Rayfarki on the counter pick still. So, I mean, I still see why you do it. Either way, it does mean Aphelios is open. Do Burning Core first pick it? Yes, they do. They know their own win conditions.
On the other side, I think we have to see a LeBlanc locked in by Ramune. This guy is one of our best LeBlancs. They're actually locking the Jarvan. They might lock in the center alongside it just to make sure they snap up that AD carry. Be a very different kind of team composition. We have seen
that third pick still, I suppose, because the AD carry has been locked in for Yuhi already.
Last week, we saw the Hawks play off against Sengoku. They
did.
played a wombo comp with Jarvan. Well, not with Jarvan. That was with the Galio and the Taric and the center and all the other stuff. They showed that they couldn't always fire on all cylinders with that comp. They missed a lot of their big engages. This won't be that same comp. They don't have the Galio in the mid lane. They have the LeBlanc. I think this is Ramune's best champion by quite a long way. And when both these teams are sat on 4 wins and a number of losses, they are fighting for the very last playoff spot. This is going to be do or die. Go back to your comfort picks. Once has gone back to his comfort pick of the Lee Sin. And all 4 of these champions so far are very comfortable champions.
And even in that previous loss, he looked pretty good on it. Rocky also returning back to Silas. They feel really confident in those picks. And with Yuhi on a pick that isn't going to sort of bleed that bot lane out quite so hard as it did go last time, maybe we'll see those champions have a little bit more impact, particularly Rocky, who looked wasn't pulling off all that much coming game.
He didn't find many inroads into fights, and I think that's largely due to how Sengoku play around objectives. They're very good at managing their distances and not get caught out and all this other stuff. So the Hawks will pick their AD carry before the second round of bans come in. It will be the misfortune. Honey has had a lot of games on that champion.
Yep.
As we said, not always managed to get the kill participation that he would like. But it is still a very important pick for him.
And of course, the combo of the Cataclysm and Bullet Time shooting champions in a barrel is such a nice opportunity. Gangplank removed from the Hawks. I'm kind of surprised because I could have seen the Cannon Barrage on top of that combo being pretty powerful, but they have removed it.
Maybe they want to leave it till
last pick. That's fair. Mordekaiser also off the board, but Nautilus is removed. from Pooh, who has looked pretty good on that champion. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Braum as well, who has looked pretty good on as well.
So I think that Burning Core might want to pick the Braum just because they're going to be against the Misfortune. Is pretty good against that. The Thresh is still available. Thresh is really good with the Aphelios. It's pretty good against him too. It is available for Pooh. He's played pretty well on the more peel-like supports though. They could lock in the Braum themselves, try and deny Burning Core that pseudo as the Misfortune. They are certainly hovering it. I would say it's Pooh's best champion.
Yep.
I think that's fair to say. They are definitely considering it at the very least.
Locked in.
Okay, it's
And
locked
also worth pointing out that last ban from Burning Core was the Akali. Dasher does know how to play that really well.
He played that in that wombo comp last time as well.
And we've seen this guy look pretty good on that champion when he gets the opportunity. He has got those champions in his wheelhouse. Hasn't always worked out for him, but he knows what he's doing.
This would be something
Thinking about a Kiana, which would mean probably Silas.
It's a hover. It's a hover.
I mean, it's a hover, but they're holding it for a while. They're definitely debating it. Going towards Rakar makes a lot more sense.
So they have an engaged support now. They do have some engage on the team. They're hovering all sorts of random stuff.
Oh, go on. Lalawi would be so much fun, though.
Whether it be good is the question.
But it's such a Rayfarky champion.
It's going to be Darius, isn't it? They're going to lock in some Darius. Don't tell me they're going to do it.
Production is wailing in our ears at despair at that opportunity.
That's kind of my inner monologue, too.
No, it's going to be Darius is locked in. He's done it. Rayfarky! All right, there we go.
I'm gonna take my headphones off. I'm bleeding slightly from the screams in the background.
You can take the top laner out of Darius. You can't take the Darius out of the top laner. He's gone and picked it up. They're thinking about a Lucian top. Oh, Dasher, it will be.
Legit.
No,
is that going to be Lucian top?
It is. It's going to be because Misfortune bot Java mid. There's no way the LeBlanc is going top. It is Lucian top into Darius. The Hawks throwing the gauntlet down in this game that could determine their fate.
How can these people walk with cojones so large? They have picked like the skill matchup of all skill matchups in like the do or die match for both of these teams.
Well,
this top lane has to be the lane to watch now. We have skill matchups in top lane, skill matchups in mid lane, and these two early game junglers which can tilt either of those matchups.
I've got to hope it's High Noon Lucian because Darius will be looking to apprehend that wanted criminal.
They both have High Noon skins.
They do, because they do.
Pretty sure
Ooh, actually, does Darius?
I thought he did.
Oh, I can't remember. I just so used to him seeing like the Dreadnova and stuff, and also like his like the Chaos Order skins versus.
He has the God King.
That's thank you.
Yes. I mean, I'd analyze the team comps, but largely it is about which of these solo laners gets ahead.
And we've got Jarvan, Lucian, and Lee Sin, Darius, like in that top lane. That could be. Well, it's going to be explosive, I can nearly guarantee it. Whereas mid lane as well, Silas, LeBlanc, hardly a subtle lane either. Could be pretty interesting one to be watching.
Yeah, he does have a High Noon.
He does have a High Noon skin. He came up with the Thresh and the...
No, it was after the Thresh. It was with the Hecarim one.
Was there Hecarim?
Hecarim and Ashe.
Ah, I'm with you, yep. Where Ashe got the kind of celestial kind of themed one almost.
No, that was a different one.
I know,
that was Celestial Queen.
But she's I've been talking with the High Noon. She talks about the angels and stuff in it rather than the infernal stuff that Lucian gets.
Oh, cool. I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I have not listened to the voice lines.
There you go. No, it's also like all the animations and stuff.
Cool. Well, not in this game.
Not in this game.
None of the celestial talk going on. He's taking the Dunk Master. That's fine.
Yeah.
It is a valid choice.
Yeah.
Shame we don't get to see the High Noon in the top lane. But
that Noxian guillotine dunk could be massively important. Lucian though going for the
hired gun. Yeah.
Hired gun. I will say the auto attack sound effects are so lovely.
You know that that skin used to be banned in competitive because the hitbox on the Q was not lined up with the particle.
Interesting.
It was way too hard to dodge. That was like talking about like on release though.
Well, okay, I think I'm assuming they
there
fixed
were a number of skins which were like that though. I believe Underworld TF because the cards tend to like have this eerie flight path when they're in flight in terms of the Q, very hard to dodge as well, and the colors are too similar on the W.
I think potentially Pulsefire TF is a bit bad for that at the minute as well. I would also say like the other one which was quite interesting was the
just TF in general.
Justicar Syndrome with her really sort of faint because the orbs were quite faint.
Anyway,
there we go.
Hired Gun was one of the original ones for that. That's what I remember that for anyway. Interesting. So we see Rocky going back to the Silas into this matchup in particular. It worked okay for him last time. It didn't particularly get him lane pressure. It did alright. Ended up affecting some of the team fights. All right. But he never really managed to pop off in the same way that, say, Aria did on that pick, which he's played twice right now.
But very few people have managed to pop off the way Aria has in some of these games. He's been one of our absolutely rock star mid laners over here in the LJL. But the focus is absolutely going to be on this top lane. The range advantage is there for Dasher, but if he ever lets Darius get on top of him, that lane could end up going really wrong really fast.
It absolutely can. Dasher choosing to miss a minion and go for an auto attack instead. I respect that. Go for the trade. This wave will start slowly pushing in towards Darius, although Lee Sin will be very quickly making his way up towards top lane. Now gone buff to buff, will be very quickly starting to look towards Dasher and Ray Farkey there.
And I don't think
That's
it comes.
4
Oh,
conquerors
he's
on
gonna
the side
go.
of
Oh
Burning
man, days. That's
Yeah.
big trade in there. And of course, it will be no surprise that once is focusing towards his top lane. He's done it in so many of their games. He knows how to get that lane rolling. Him and Ray Farkey have a lot of experience, and you'll notice it's Ghost Flash for Darius. No teleport. Is looking to get on top of his Lucian as easily as possible, as often as possible.
Well, I think that if you end up being in a long lane when you have the correct items and you can just stat check him, that's very dangerous for Lucian. You don't have something like a phase rush until it might be even worth him going something like a Black Cleaver. I think Black Cleaver this game should be the build from Lucian just to have that extra kiting ability if he does want to start matching up against the Darius. I think that would be the right choice this game.
Yep, we also saw the Twitter poll there. The Hawks coming out on top fairly heavily over Burning Core. A lot of fans of particularly Ramone and Tussle, old school players who have got so much.
Yeah, the Rampage
Yeah,
guys.
they are some of the old school veterans, victors. They are our Bjergsons, they are our Jensens, they are our Perks, our Caps. They are those guys everyone loves to know. They've got that storied history to them. They have done the LJL proud over the years, and the fans still got a lot of faith in this team, even if they are only 4-8 right now.
But talking about expectations, right? I mean, Ramone was very much the foil to Seros on DFM. Ramone then went to DFM. He played on that team. He was in the back room. He didn't play any stage games last year, as far as I'm aware. Now we look at the table now. DFM sat firmly in first. They took a knock against Sengoku. But then Ramone, he's not managed to reach those same heights. Maybe it's one of those things where he looks at this kind of deal and says, damn, DFM looking pretty sweet right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in the back of the mind.
Maybe it is a little bit. We saw once hanging around that mid lane waiting to see if Ramone would distort forward, give Lee Sin that opportunity to go, and he has, however, ended up on a ward, that current bush. Such a good spot for things like pink wards and stuff now.
It is very good for controlling a little bit extra vision. Also means you can't see around that.
Tussle just envisioned there. The wave pushed just a little bit further forward. Ray Farkey's going to know he's there.
I actually don't know if that's
I think it was, because I saw the Fog of War toggle come on, and he was just about envisioned.
I'm
for
actually not
half
sure
a
about
second.
that. He's going to get...
No, he's going to go flashes there. Well done by Ray Farkey.
And that's why I think he didn't see him. Because the way he was positioning there as well, there were no pings on the map as well. Normally you see that when someone slips out of vision and all that other stuff. It's a flash away from the Darius. Does mean that some of that kill pressure in that matchup has now been alleviated. Can't flash for an apprehend or the Noxian guillotine or anything like that.
Does still have the ghost, so if Lucian pushes up too far, could end up in trouble. But right now, he's just freezing it. Darius in a very awkward spot. Of course, it will eventually slow push in here for Lucian.
I don't know if he's going to be able to hold that outside of turret. Oh, he's going to try.
He's not going to be okay. Just about okay.
He's just checking that Darius wasn't in that bush. If
Probably sensible. Could have been trouble.
Yeah, definitely could have been. There's a lot of ranged minions there and a cannon as well. This will be able to freeze for another wave. I think actually might even just overpush, and you probably should have killed that cannon first, because this will overpush into turret as it stands.
Yeah, but either way, Darius is losing out on a fair amount of CS. Remember, he
is.
has...
He's like 15 CS down right now.
No teleport as well, so this kind of break, or this kind of freeze point can be really frustrating.
Should have obviously ghosted back to lane.
That's exactly it. Just to use that, laning for jungle phase is over. Come and join me in another lane.
That's me. Wow.
It is. It's brilliant stuff. Either way, once we'll claim up the first Drake for Burning Core. Pooh will spot out that that's happening, but they would have got the notification anyway that the blue side Burning Core picking up first Drake there.
Oh dear, it's an Infernal Drake, although obviously the individual dragons are not nearly as strong as they were last season. We've said that a lot of times on cast and all the other kind of things because it is pretty relevant. So we don't see which dragon is going to be next, but obviously that won't be the Rift. And I don't think that dragon will affect the game too much.
No, but we are
Apart
seeing
from the stack, obviously.
a fairly significant CS lead for Yuhi and Proud in the bot lane. Honey and Pooh playing a little bit more defensively, knowing they've got the Lucian on the top side, and Tussle kind of wanting to focus around that area. Probably means
Rakan's pretty good into duo as well. Because like, the thing about Braum is that often he stops the engage of a hook champion. Rakan is not one of those things. We see Tussle going for another kind of fight.
They're trying to get in. They've got the slowdown. Ray Farkey's in trouble. He's got a decent apprehend. There is that decimate that does heal him back up. Flash from Tussle committed there, though.
It was. Didn't end up hitting the flag and drag down. Once will be trying his luck on the bottom side of the map, maybe, as they saw the Jarvan on the top.
Yeah, once not Envision at the minute. They probably spotted him coming in though, because there was that red ward on the entrance in. But actually, Rocky getting a good trade onto Ramune in the mid lane. And here we go. The dive is committed. Is there going to be a
Knock and
teleport? No, Pooh is in trouble, and the Sentinel is down, doing a lot
he's
of
out.
work. They do get out. Pooh's alive, but they're thinking about re-engaging now. They've got rid of the aggro. Tussle's nowhere nearby.
Oh,
There's a
tower shot.
teleport.
Oh, no.
First blood over to Rakan with the Gleaming Quill.
Gleaming Quill lands from Proud one way or another. It's kind of botched, but it is a first blood nonetheless. The assists going through to Yuhi and once as well, so they don't feel too bad about that. And it does mean that Honey will have to back off in the tower and have to give up a second play already at only 7.5 minutes into this game.
And they burnt so many summoners as well. It's flash from both of them. It's the heal from Honey on top of it for basically just the ignite of Proud. Pretty good dive there, like, especially considering no one responded.
Very true. There was no teleport channel from Dasher. You maybe could have tried to go in and clean up a couple of kills, but didn't want to go up against the mobility of Burning Core. I think actually he thought that his dual lane would be out safe at that point. Nonetheless, Dasher used the teleport to get back to the top lane now and is sat at a healthy 35 CS lead as the wave crashes into tower against Darius.
It is a 20 CS lead though for Yuhi in the bot side, who having a lot better game post that Senna game, which was a little bit miserable for that AD carry.
It was tough. It was really tough.
Should we still be calling them AD carries? Bot lane carries probably.
When I do the rundown, I'm like, oh, it's bot lane, just to make sure that there's no Syndra's picked down there. We saw that a lot more towards the start of the split. Not too many mages down there are currently being picked.
No.
Although that might just be an LJL thing.
Yeah.
We occasionally see a Syndra coming out of various other regions.
I mean, there's still room for things like a Yasuo Gragas if you really want to go hard on that. Pantheon Talia is always an option. We've seen it once or twice. In fact, no, we not see a Pantheon Talia. We saw the Pantheon support at least.
We saw Pantheon Slayer from CGA.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was in the loss to... I'm trying to remember the team. But yes, they lost with that. Wasn't the best thing ever.
Wasn't the best thing ever. One way of phrasing that, it didn't look spectacular, but that was for positioning reasons, if nothing else. This game is currently 1,000 gold in the lead for Burning Core, but there are win conditions in that this Lucian is double the CS of the Darius. Good chain forces a flash out of Rocky.
You know what was really awkward about that? So Rocky stole the ult from LeBlanc. It's not the distortion, because that's normally what you try and get with the Silas. He got the chain instead. Would have been really nice to have the ult distort there. Would have been able to dash out with that second mimic there.
Just like his bling, he's already got the 2 chains, he's after the third.
He's got a prominent rapping career ahead of him.
Freliodi and Silas, actual rapper. There we go. Burning Core now coming to contest the early Rift Herald start from the Hawks, but Bilgewater Cutlass came out on once, but he has, of course, a safeguard to keep his... Tussle is still around. I don't know whether he wants to go for an engagement. It's just going to be given over.
Will be so. First Herald going over to Burning Core. They had the first dragon as well. Early objectives going the way of Burning Core off of their run of the map from the bot lane does mean that they don't have to play so much around there, or at least they didn't put so many resources after that first dive, which they did put a lot into.
Yeah, Honey once again choked out a fair amount by Yuhi, who's got caught with the Calibrum, can be pretty disgusting.
He's down. Pooh's stealing out
that's good play.
The scuttle there.
It's all changed. The mental warfare's been won.
That's it. And I have to say, Pooh has been very consistent on the Braum. He had some of the best games that we've seen from a support. In the early weeks, we saw him against Rascal Jester having a really good game on that Braum.
Here we go. Dive on the top side. Tussle and Ramone are here. The wave's here, but so is Lee Sin coming up. It'll be a 3v2. Ray Farkey flashing out. I think he might still die. No, he's got the heal! He's going to get it around! But Ray Farkey does go down, but it's a 1-for-1 so far. It's a 2-for-1. Oh, Hawks. That's going to be pretty miserable. And Once is still on the chase, but decides to back off. Well played by Ray Farkey to get the one turnaround.
That's the second time where the Decimate has come in pretty huge from the Darius. That does give you back some of your missing HP, and if you're pretty low, that's going to give you a whole lot of health back. We're going to see it in the replay here. I think that they saw this coming pretty long way off because Once was already pathing up there. Ray Farkey comes in, tries to kill a couple of the minions that flashes out from the distortion. That's pretty important. Does get hit by the flag and drag, but the Decimate hits here at the end of it and gets that into his ultimate as well. Gets the last amount of damage onto the Jarvan to get that first kill. Then Lucian picks up the aggro and Once follows up with the Dragon's Rage to pick up.
That was very well played by Ray Farkey. Of course, Dasher did at least get a kill there, so that's something, but this game is looking a little bit risky. About 1,500 gold in the lead for Burning Core, and from a comp that really wants to get the advantages early, use that Lucian to push in as hard as they can. Not looking as good as they would hope right now. Dash is
not.
actually roamed down towards the mid lane right now.
There isn't much mana left on Silas's sense. He's got the Corrupting Pot, taking still have a little bit. The Chain lands, this could be death here.
Yeah, and Tussel's here as well. They're going to try and get as much damage in. He's just gone. Never mind.
Will be flash committed from the Jarvan. It's a good coordinated gank. They saw the opening there with Rocky staying around with a little too mana to really help himself. Ramne lands the chain, and that's all she wrote.
And he still had his flash down from the earlier chain landing from Ramone, so well played. 2 assists on the board for that LeBlanc, who is up a fair amount of CS. There are still win conditions here, of course, for the side of the Hawks. Dash is looking pretty strong. So is Ramone. Well, it's just this bot lane that is currently a little bit of a scary space.
It is. And the thing is, I mean, we've seen Hawks play for quite a while now. Obviously, we've seen them for the whole split. The Lucian has been banned against them so much.
Yes, it has.
Been, I think half of the presence for a while of Lucian in the LJL was bans against the Hawks. We don't know whether it was against Honey Ramone or Dasha. Dasha's the one to pick it up this game, and he's opened himself up a 50 CS lead.
Yeah, he has.
A 45-50. It's hanging around that kind of mark. He's almost at his Blade of the Ruin King, as we see Ray Falky only pick up the Phage and the boots. At least Tabby do give you a pretty good trade against that.
Well, actually, they went on the tower.
Yuhi going
That's a
far
big
there.
one. He does get rooted up by that, I think it was a Braum stun, and it does mean that they get out, but it means that the flash heal has to be burned from Yuhi. They were getting a little bit overconfident in that bot lane, do get punished. It's just the heal burn from Honey. It's ignite down from Pooh, but that flash is such a big deal.
It is. The flash, so all the peel away from Yuhi on his own character now. Use the ult, use the flash, and the heal as well. Even though he does have himself a 20 CS lead, so, you know, he's still fine in terms of gold income. He's going to be feeling that a little bit if there were to be a fight breakout in the next 5 minutes.
Tussle and Once fighting over this red buff, and Tussle's like, oh yeah, it's mine, and comes back and takes it. Yeah. Sonic Wave's a bit late. They clear out the wave to the Hawks and Honey.
With the bullet time, though.
Yeah, they want to rotate, is what this will be. Surely it means they desperately want that back and want to try and save that tower for a little bit longer.
This has been a real change of roles for the Burning Core bot lane. Obviously, last game, they were up against the Aphelios and got their asses handed to them a little bit by Yutori Miyashi and NT from Sengoku. This game, they're dealing out the damage to Honey and Pooh on the Hawks.
And they pick up first tower for themselves as well. And this Lucian has got his Blade of the Ruin King, but has no idea where the Darius is, who is roaming up. Probably he's looking to go towards the bot side, looking to switch around the bot and top lanes for the side of Burning Core.
Well, the second dragon was picked up from Burning Core, so...
Yes. It is a big deal. And that means we're actually on a Cloud Rift, which is a lot of ultimate cooldown available for either team that picks up those stacking drakes.
Will be indeed. Things like Cloud Dragons are probably the best of the individual mini dragons. I think just having ultimate cooldown is very nice for most champions in the game. There are a couple which don't really care for it, like Quinn, for instance. But then Quinn really likes the Cloud Rift, so if it's a rift, she can start roaming around, whatever. In this particular game, Silas will be really enjoying the ult cooldown. But the problem is the Cloud Soul itself, not necessarily the best thing ever. It's pretty okay for Rakan in particular, because he likes the move speed, allowing to kind of kite in and out the fight. Aphelios also uses it at the start of the fight.
Honey's in trouble, has to flash away.
And the rest, the other...
They were setting up a bait, and it's spotted by
Calibrum.
Yeah, Calibrum was a big one. It's the last one on that gun as well. That was clutch from Yuhi, actually, to spot that out. Also worth pointing out, for people, everyone is here because the Herald will be spawning in just around 30 seconds, just over. Proud once again going in over the wall, wanting so much damage to Tussle, and that's half the HP on the Jarvan just before the Herald is going to spawn. He's going to push in on this tower. Well, I think that'll be second tower for Burning Core.
They might say just screw the turret, just screw the Herald, go for the turret at this point. The wave's going to die here, so they'll have to wait for the next one. But that's half of it down already here in the top lane.
It is. Ramone is finally roaming up, but he is not on a ward because they've got the pink ward there.
There is a potential teleport ward if Dasha wants to start going into a fight. Ramone is almost spotted out. It does get spotted by the chip because he throws the chain out of the brush there. Rocky picking up the Mimic Distortion for his stolen ultimate there as well. Does help him a little bit with extra gap closing, as we've been saying, and it's good AP ratio too. Once stopping the recalls once more means that they won't be able to reset as quickly in time for the dragon, which is going up in 30 seconds.
And Once has had sole control over the objectives this game. This will be second Herald for this team. This will be...
He also did pretty well last game.
Yeah, he did, exactly.
Had a good couple of weeks.
So while we've seen some positives from the Hawks, they are actually down 2,000, 3,000 gold now. Or 2.5, let's be fair to the team. And the Cloud Drake, this third Drake of the game, is spawning in 10 seconds, and you have to feel with the Rift Herald pressure that it can put down the mid lane should buy them that third Drake as well.
Oh, we see Rocky just using a stolen ult there. I'm not sure what the cooldown will be. Yeah, his actual ult is now on cooldown. So will not have that in time for this Cloud Dragon, which has just spawned. No one going towards it just yet, though.
Bit of a trade from Ramone there, just turning that one back. Two chains
chains.
himself, and that's a good
Flash
curling there. It's going to put a lot of damage onto Rocky. Has at least got teleport, but burned the flash, but that might give the Hawks advantage on this Drake if they go for it right away.
Maybe, but there's no culling available now for this fight if they want to try and zone people off or try and focus down the first target. Everyone from the Hawks has showed up to this fight. There is a teleport available, as you were saying, from Silas. There's a lot of posturing going on.
Look at that ward in the bush behind there as well, up towards the blue buff. That's a great place.
Steals it.
That's now third Drake and Cloud Soul over. No teleport burned by Rocky.
Flash misses.
Flash did miss, but now channels the teleport from Silas. It's a good Cataclysm, and it's a good MFL. But once slays the Jarvan, and Silas is now in the backline with the Proto Belt complete. That's 2 kills to the side of Burning Core, and they're going to keep chasing. Ghost was popped by Ray Farkey. The Rift Herald is popped too, and that is a massive win for Burning Core.
It's huge. The Drake stacking continues from Burning Core. The Hawks not managing to break that streak.
Oh, he finds Dasher. Where did he find that? It's a wall hop over the wall to get there. This man on Lee Sin is a monster. Just turns up out of nowhere.
Yes.
Finds all of these angles. Show reel after show reel.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Once, says Dasher as he dies horribly to the Lee Sin there. 3-0 and 2 on the jungler of Burning Core. They might even have to get... Oh, no, they don't quite get the dash into the inhibitor. That's 3 turrets down from Burning Core in 1 Herald push.
And it was a fairly close-ish game. It's not anymore. It's 5,000 gold. It's Cloud Soul point. Let's look at this fight one more time. And great steal from Once.
Yeah, Once finds himself over the back of the pit because he gets the blast plant in. The rest of the team, they are timing it somewhat. It is just a straight smite. It's not twinned up with the Q or anything. Tussle then flashes in at, well, he EQs in, flubs the flash, and then he's stuck in the Cataclysm with a very angry Ray Farkey. Rocky gets a decent flank here with the teleport, and then kind of just run down the rest of the carries there.
Yeah, we don't get to see the Once good kill onto Hawks. I will also say there was a great grand entrance quickness to interrupt the Misfortune bullet time that was spraying across the entire team of Burning Core as well that could have turned that around. So credit to Proud there with the good interrupt on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that Rakan coming up pretty valuable. We see the Triforce complete from Darius after that fight. It's out at 1-1 and 3. Managed to reduce the CS deficit to only a measly 30 in the top lane, comparative to what it was before that. Pretty okay. Whereas Dasher has completed the Blade of the Ruin King. Once looking for Ramone.
Oh, he hits it, but he's going to go into a 1v2 and does think about going back as Ramone takes that distortion back to see whether he can get something onto the Lee Sin.
Yeah, Once is very strong now. Has completed the Black Cleaver. Which means
Speaking
that
of strong, look at Aphelios.
Oh yeah, true. The yeah, the 2-item combo, full item ahead of Honey right now, probably due to all those plates and the first turret bonus. Ray Farkey going
could
pretty
be in
hard
trouble
there.
here. He's gone in on that.
Going in.
Takes a massive amount of damage. Once does
survive.
survive.
He's going to survive with the Guardian and the shields.
We have always been aware that Once hits his mid games when he's feeling a bit confident can sometimes cost his team leads. This time around though, he gets out.
This game, everyone gets once.
Oh,
gets out of line.
Oh no!
With the Guardian and the Battle Dance from Proud on the Rakan. Has the Zeke's Convergence as well built up. Does that Rakan, which is very strong for these team fights in particular. Anyway, what I was going to say is that if Once and Ray Farkey ever team up in a 2vx scenario, if the Black Cleaver comes through from Once onto the priority target, they are going to get absolutely shredded by that Darius with all of the damage available to him.
Indeed. We've got to be a bit careful because, of course, Darius has hit his 24. He's hit his Ninja Tabby. Yeah, he's ready to exactly that kind of deal. Like it's the Lucian is doing okay in a side lane, but the problem is, and he's the cullings are palpable. They're not getting kills, and Darius I think is probably a slightly more useful teamfight champion at this point.
I think at this point, yeah. Unless you can solo out the first target as the Lucian and start in a running, even then in a running battle, when you've got the Ghost running as Darius, it's pretty okay. I think at this point, when you're ahead on the Darius, it's fine. It's just when you're really far behind, Lucian has more options. He might be aggressive.
No, he's on the right side of the map because they're aware of where they have vision and where they don't. Hawks have managed to get decent vision in and around that top side river. There is one blue ward in the back there from a good use of a blue trinket, but Rayfaki is going to shove up on this side lane. Has got Once here to support, and Once is very scary. We've seen him solo out a number of these
He's
solo
also
laners.
zoning off Dasher in the top lane.
that's
Ramene's
massive.
at least trading on the other side of the map here, but this is a full health turret taken by Rayfaki.
Yeah, that's big. And, you know, the fact
And it's
that
an inner for an outer.
Once is the same level, incidentally, as Dasher on this Lucian, right?
Yep.
This Lee Sin is very fed. He's got a stopwatch alongside his 2 damage items.
He's
so-
ready to really brawl right now.
Yeah, he really is. And just
Ramene
look-
no TP either, so he's currently out in the stick.
Yeah, and we've seen this a little bit from Ramene, who's just not been around for some of these fights. And he's actually, ready to push in on this inhibitor. He did go down to the Rift Herald charge earlier.
Has another crit cloak as well, so he's pretty ready to fight.
They're just keeping but the Hawks back in their base. It's the Cloud Soul ready in 15 seconds. They're going to retreat back towards it, you feel. They've got flashes available, they've got ultimates available, and I'm not sure the Hawks are going to be able to contest.
I don't think so. Either one's going
he's
in.
gonna just
he
take
takes...
a drunk.
Okay, alright. Doesn't end up committing anything to that besides just his own body over the line there. No real health traded back and forth. With the open inhib in the mid lane, it gives Burning Core such pressure over priority and all this other stuff. Because, there's no tower to start culling that wave. It just hits the block structure of the inhibitor there. There's no tower to kill those minions.
There isn't. That's a huge amount of damage from Infernum onto Ramene there, who slices that LeBlanc's health bar in half.
Gets a bit slapped about that.
Hawks were thinking about going to try and potentially posture around that Baron, and that was swiftly shut down by the might of Yuhi's items.
Yeah. So I think the way the Hawks win a fight right now, because even though they are 6k down, you do have an ignite on the LeBlanc. You do have your double pen as well. If you manage to get a good combo onto the Aphelios, maybe you can take him out before the fight starts in earnest. And then at that point, when you're having even if you have an item deficit on your AD carry, I mean the Misfortune is still going to carry those fights with 1.5 items, right? Yeah. So if you can pop Yuhi, maybe you can have a good fight. The problem is Rakan is really good at getting on top of the AD carry and protecting them with the Guardian and the Battle Dance as well.
Yeah, we're hearing Pooh go, oh bother, as his honey is kind of stolen away from him once or twice by Proud coming in. And
bother,
he's
I'm
about
all out of honey.
Indeed, well, we'll see whether that comes round to be true again. Either way, I did the one honey I've shrunk the health bars reference earlier in this play. I've got to have one or two Winnie the Pooh ones.
That was on the week where we were
it was good
stuck out in the storm weather.
That's
pretty bad.
But either way, we're looking at a 6,000 odd gold lead for the side of Burning Core, who are shoving in all over the place. Silas all by himself with his teleport in the top lane, pushing in. Rocky once again had a relatively quiet game, has been kind of focused down a little bit, but not to too much success from the Hawks. Another chain lands, but Rocky goes back.
He has been caught pretty badly there,
just
actually.
take a fair amount of damage, but again, is healthy enough to
he's
get
just
out.
going to go for the inhib here, actually.
I think he is, rightly so. He's got Onslaught with the Crescendum duo there is going to get a lot of damage down. That's just going to go.
Out.
And I don't think anybody wants to walk into the Darius at this point. Is it going to survive? No, it does finally go down. Yuhi steps back forwards for that inhibitor take, and they're going to retreat back towards this Baron with all the vision timing out. Dasher is split pushing in a side lane.
I have to say, just the permanent move speed buff of the 10% from the Cloud Drake is really important for Burning Core because they have a Darius. Because they have 4 melee champions, and also an Aphelios who likes to kite around as well. So all of these guys like to use their move speed. Darius more so because he has taken the Ghost as well. They're taking over the Baron here. We'll see if Hawks can stop it. They can't. Will they get run down? Doesn't look Burning Core are going to go for it.
But that's the other thing with that. You were talking about it. The Cloud Soul is big. You do get to keep the movement speed for those champions who do want to stick on top of you. And now with a Baron buff as well, Burning Core are looking to shut the door on the Hawks and their chances at playoffs.
This won't be the end of their playoffs run. If they do, there is a chance that Hawks can get through. If, as we were saying, if they lose this game, they win the next one, and then another 5-7 team or a 5-X team goes 0-2. There is a chance that they get through, but the cards are then out of their hands. If they win the next one, maybe they can force a bit of an easier situation.
It is going to be a remarkable turnaround if that happens, but for now, the Hawks looking to be in a very difficult position for now. Lucian's got himself Leather King Black Cleaver. Maybe he can split push his way to a little bit more gold. Maybe he can hold on.
There's 2 items on the MF.
That's the big one as well. That is huge. That double. That if a good bullet time comes through, there is no Braum Shield to block it. There are a number of squishy people who would not like to tank that whole combination from a Misfortune who's at least got rank 2 on that ultimate. But Rayfaki is strong. Rocky is strong, and Yuhi is definitely strong at 2.5 items as well.
He is, and he's almost at the Infinity Edge as well. He has all the components available, just another 625.
Ooh, Once takes a lot of damage there.
Yeah, he does. The Safeguard meaning that it was no real fear of going down, though, unless there was another instance of damage coming through. Good damage, though, from Ramone. Still pretty relevant on the LeBlanc, but does need to land the correct combos and not get killed himself if he really wants to start winning this game.
And he is trying. We're seeing this LeBlanc does have damage, but we've talked about how Honey's really struggling to find places to position to get full ultimate combos off when he's got so many melee champions ready to run at him. There's only so much one Braum with one...
Yeah, he can only hold one door, and it's not for the playoff chances right now. Rayfarki
does
actually
get a lot of damage.
there.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage. Does survive. No, the Cataclysm comes through to end the Darius' life, and that's an okay bullet time. Infernal is massive. Turns it around, and Rocky's going in with a Cataclysm that he's stolen this time around. It's not quite enough, and they are going to get back out there, but that was nearly a good turnaround from Burning Core, and they're actually going to be forced away with their health bars low. They get one pick, but it comes at the cost of this top lane inhibitor turret.
But what did it cost you? Well, this time it's not everything, it is just the turret itself. That was a pretty huge Infernum. You know, one thing I wasn't quite sure about, I think that Infernum procced on the LeBlanc clone. I think it actually made, that means if Ramone is really low HP, you could technically get a 6-man Infernum ult.
That's pretty massive.
That's hilarious. I love that.
The Hexa kill by proxy would be a potential there, but let's have a look at this. It looked nearly like a great start for the Hawks.
Well, it was. I mean, they put the Ignite down onto Greyfarki. They get the chain as well. It's another chain to lock him up in place. It's a very tight choke point here, which normally does favor the... Oh, man, just look at that damage there. Just got it. I was going to say something else, but that Infernum was just crazy. Ends the fight where it started, really. Although Rayfarki went down before anything else came about. Elder is spawning in 50 now, obviously. That spawns after the soul has been taken. It's early into this game, only at 28 minutes. Going to be definitely something which Hawks are going to try and fight for, maybe, because that might be their only way into the game.
And if they lose it, it may be, well, their very swift exit from the game as well. It could be... Well, I say it could be. I think it's likely to be as we actually hit a game pause.
Okay, right. So, as is tradition, we haven't had one of these for a while. Matt Swan, Lexi, if you are there, would you care to join us for however long this pause might go on for?
Absolutely, of course. I'm more than happy to join you on this pause that we've not had one for, I believe, 3 weeks.
Oh, it's been a while, yeah.
And I mean, I think we did have one pause, but I think it was actually when I was guest appearing as a caster.
Yeah, it was with me. It was with me.
Yes, so it's been a while since I've come in, said hello to our viewers and potentially people watching over on the YouTube VOD. Hello YouTube. Well, this doesn't look good for Hawks, does it?
No, not particularly.
I hate to be biased, but god damn it, what? This Lucian just hasn't been good. Once has had an amazing game so far over on Burning Core. Rayfarki didn't really get punished out or really bullied out the lane. There was a huge CS deficit, which you do expect, but I mean, the rest of the side of Burning Core has just been playing so good.
They have. I think that Ramone has been doing pretty fine in the mid lane on the LeBlanc.
Yep.
I think that Dasher got a pretty huge advantage. He genuinely did, like 50-60 CS. That's beyond what we expect from a solo lane Lucian. But what has that led to? It's led to very little. They split pushed down the top lane outer turret eventually, and that was Ramone being in the side lane. He didn't have a teleport as well, so they lost a lot. I think they lost an inhibitor tower at they lost the bot inhibitor tower at the same time or something like that. The problem for me now as well is that the pressure valve right now is Ramone, because he's the only strong person, because Dasher isn't able to 1v1 the Darius with all the moves featuring the Cloud Drakes. And Honey is not in a position to carry team fights, because he has been behind this game. He was put behind early in the laning phase with that crazy level whatever dive. Yeah, he's just not managed to recover so far.
And actually, when the Hawks tried to do the reverse to Rayfarki's Darius, actually, they yes, he's been behind, but Rayfarki has stayed relevant. At least that massive tower dive that did go wrong with a really good counter gank from once was huge. Did keep Rayfarki in the game. And it means that in the team fights, Darius has been a lot more of a threat. And also some quality re-engages by Proud to get onto the Misfortune, stop off those bullet times, has meant that the objective control has been solely to the side of Burning Core, and that's been a big deal.
So I was just watching the VOD to try and figure out what was happening while we are on this pause for this brief period of time. It seems like there was a brief problem with Proud's computer. One of the judges was going over to Proud and trying to fiddling around on the side. I just saw on the side of Rocky as he was just sitting there very comfortably on his own, and then the spectator was coming in and fiddling around. So potentially Yuhi's having a slight technical problem. Obviously, we'd much rather have all integrity and neutral fair state for all players on the Rift while in play, as we do go back into game.
Oh, okay.
Ramone had to double distort his way out of a slightly tricky situation. There was getting collapsed on from two sides, but does get out.
Got back onto his own side of the map there. Was briefly behind enemy lines. Now he's gonna just farm up the bot wave here. They do still have their bot lane inhibitor. I was completely wrong about that. Remembering wrong in the break. And we do still have some deathless members on the Hawks, even though the game has been pretty against them so far. Ramone and Honey sat at 0-0-3 and 0-0-0 in particular.
We did kind of call out Honey's kill participation being a little low. It is once again a complete zero at this point. We need to see a little bit more out of him as this Elder Drake is started. It's already going down. This could be it. I don't think Tusk's going to get here in time. It's going down really low. It's claimed. And now the fight begins. The stolen Glacial Fissure comes out. And they're going to try and find it. Tussle at the very least is dead sure to go down. That Elder Dragon breath of death comes out. And the fire starts spreading.
Oh, he's so fast!
It's the... Ghost Apprehend comes in with the flash, and that's a double for Silas. Well and truly taking to end the game. They're going to try and clean up these inhibitors. Dash is running away, but I don't think you want to fight.
Oh, the flash smite.
Oh, that was cruel. Smited away was Lucian, and the breath of heaven comes from above, and that's going to be the last of it for the Hawks. Burning Core. It's only Ramone alive. It's only a couple of Nexus turrets alive, and it's not going to be enough. Burning Core will move to 5 and 9.
They will do indeed, and the Hawks are now put on death watch for their playoffs chances. They're going to be a brief stand at the Nexus here, but they make no mistake, the game will be going to Burning Core. And actually, so once finishing at 4-0-4 in that game, a great game from the Lee Sin once again from the jungler of Burning Core. So, well, we didn't have to wait that long. Lexi, nice to have you back. What did you think of that game in its entirety?
Well, once I honestly probably had his best game ever so far of this split. This was
that one Lisa Yumi game. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That was also a very crazy game, but this was a different Axis. I think like once fully carried this game on his back, arguably for the side of Burning Core. He was an integral part in multiple spots and had, I think, almost 80% kill participation in that game, which is kind of crazy. It might be higher than that, honestly.
It's 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, so, okay, 80%, perfect. Did that off the top.
Easy.
Basically, I completely forgot how the game ended. I wasn't sure if he picked up 1 or 2 extras at the end. I was like, I think 80% is a safe number. Happens to be perfect. I mean, I can't help it just being Mr. Perfect, so.
Wow, it's an occupational hazard here on the LJL. But yeah, no, once I completely agree. Had a great game. He set up the dive in the bot lane that got them the early lead down there. He kept Brave Barky in the game with a really good counter gang top. He had a lot of pressure over those early game objectives.
Steal
lots of tricks,
the third dragon.
Massively true. And then also just like that, really some stylish plays too, right? The ward over the back of the blue jungle, in the entirety of the blue side jungle to get onto Dash and get a kill onto him. Just great play from him in general.
And on the other side, sad story for the Hawks, right? You know, this is, at this point, you know, I mean, the warning lights have been on for a while, but last chance saloon now. They have to win the next game. They have to, and they need another team to go 0-2. If they lose the next game, that's out. Their first split in the LJL will be out of playoffs.
Yeah, and it's so sad after that. Such a good start to the split, and then such a fall from grace. Honestly, what they are going to be rather sad to see is potentially if they had 1 win out of 3 weeks, probably would have made playoffs. How would you sit?
They started very well.
How does that sit with a team? And now I just want to bring it over to our standings. Burning Core getting that win now pushes 3 teams into 7th place. Well,
jeez, it does.
What does that mean? Well, if Crest or Axis go 0-2, there's default playoffs immediately. Playoffs immediately happen. One of them will have to face against either the other if they both go, because I don't believe... Oh no, CGA and Axis are playing each other. So, if
that's the important one.
That's going to be probably our game of the week now with how things are scaling up, because that's going to be a huge decider for how playoffs actually turn out. So CGA and Axis will play. So we know one of them will be pushed up into a safe space, meaning one of them will drop. Now, if the other game they play, Axis are playing Detonation Focus Me. So that's going to be an uphill battle for the cast kind of crew of misfits that we are really supporting as this Cinderella story has started. And pushed themselves into a really interesting spot. Whereas Crest, they're playing against V3. V3 are also playing against Detonation Focus Me as well, meaning that V3 are our 1-on-1 team. They've proved that they want it. So this could push either Axis or Crest into that O2 spot if things go how they could go.
Oh.
Meaning, God, what happens? So much happens in that game. The decider.
I think if Axis miss playoffs, they'll feel really hard done by because how they've ended the split. The start of the split was poor.
Yes.
Crest Gaming are on the other side of it. They started really well, and we had that point where we had 8 games played per team. So that would have been 4 weeks in.
Yep.
Where we had Detonation Focus Me like way at the top, 8-0.
8-0, yeah.
Sailing fine. Then we had tied for second place. We had 3 teams. We had CGA, we had Sengoku, and we had the Hawks.
We did.
Look how differently these teams have performed so far. We've got one right at the top there still, Sengoku, which are actually the ones which are the shakiest out of them.
Most coin flip, yeah.
Right down at the bottom, not performing well at all in the last couple of weeks. And then Crest kind of splitting the wick and kind of going 1-1 and like taking some crazy games.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an exciting one, but let's not forget our last game for the day is going to be Rascal Jester facing off against the Hawks. Now, this is a basically do or die game for the Hawks, but what this also means for the Jesters is potentially they can jump up to that that third place spot. They're already tied now, but they can take it away from V3, and standings and pick side is really important when you come to these best of 3, best of 5 series. I believe it's best of 3 until we get to the later ones. You guys can correct me on that. I think it is best of 3s for the earlier ones, best of 5s for the later ones. But that's so important. Getting pick selection in these earlier games, especially if potentially one of these lower teams makes a longer run. If you're third place and you're playing against fifth place team that's doing a bit of a run, well, that really sets you up for potentially selections and options. Exactly,
and Raptors have certainly had some very inventive drafts. They've come out on top in a couple. Like we saw in the last game when they flexed the set around, really put it would have been Burning Core. No, it wasn't Burning Core. It was Sengoku Gaming in a difficult position. I apologize.
Right. Okay, that game.
Yeah, where they flex things around. Like we've seen this team be very clever in draft. We saw it in their first game versus DFM. We've seen it in a number of other spaces too. They know how to
Burning Core with the virus.
Exactly. Find some ways into games that perhaps other teams wouldn't be thinking of.
Well, with that all said, we'll come back right after this break to cover our 4th and final game of the day. We can't wait to have you with us. Thank you so much for watching.